Well, hello, that's me again. Today is May 26th. It is Monday, and it is Memorial Day here in the United States, and it's Memorial Weekend. And before I go and explain to you why Mr. Trump went ballistic again, is what you see in the beginning is essentially the description of the work of the Patriot PAC-3 air defense complex, and that tells you everything you need to know of why the United States is not ready to fight a real war, because it doesn't have actual air defense. And the question here is in this. And the first segment, you can see yourself something which is like the burst of the air defense missiles. It is immediate indication that it is the Patriot there. And then, of course, you see yourself as Mr. Iskander arrives in Kiev, and that's pretty much the end of the Patriot. And the question here is, no matter how they try to spin it, that, oh yeah, it was slightly damaged. Yeah, sure. And the issue here is first, starting from Iskander. This is Iskander. As you can see yourself, even approximate, I mean ballpark estimate of its burnout speed, or the speed with which it approaches the target, in this particular case Iskander, a Patriot, it's hypersonic still. It's way above Mach 5, and the burst which you see yourself is actually the result of the very bad idea and design of, obviously, Patriot PAC-3, which operates its MIM-104, missiles, which it has on the semi-active mode. Before, however, I go about semi-active mode, the first versions of the Patriot were altogether really funny. They had their what is called RKTU in Russian, which is the radio command telecontrol. So essentially what you try to do, you get approximate so to speak, position of the target, then you shoot your missile, and missile has the which is active semi-active homing device, and it has the what is called radio visor. And once it opens, it essentially scans things, and you can say, oh yeah, I see the target, let's capture it, and bang, you shoot it down. Well, it works really beautiful on this against the targets which are, well, subsonic, let's put it this way, and have a very comfortable distance, elevation and range. Modern warfare doesn't work at all. It's just simply useless. And what you see, the burst, it's the first indication of what I've been preaching for so many years, and I wrote 4 books about it. They begin to see something approaching this, apart from the very low selectivity of the targets, because Russians saturate the place with all kinds of the drones, such as geraniums, but even without the drones, they see something approaching with extremely high speed, probably couple 3 seconds before it hits them. And as the result, it is the reaction of the combat crew which is trying to survive, and they launch whatever they have, and usually, well, it's useless. They cannot intercept Iskander, period. They cannot intercept Kinzhal even more, because Kinzhal is a much higher speed than Iskander. It is Mach up to 10, people say it's 11, but so even if it's burnout speed, by the time it approaches the target, it is still Mach 7 plus at least, most likely about Mach 8, Mach 9. So good luck intercepting it. United States simply has no technology to do anything about it, especially when it maneuvers. And as the result, it responds with all those bursts. So when you look attentively at how the modern, this thing works, well, here it is. It has the radar, which is actually not very much elevated, which is immediately a horrendous flaw of the system. Unlike, for example, Russian air defense systems, they can elevate their radar up to 35 meters easily. And there you go. That's pretty much, missile beams data to radar. So it's semi-active regime essentially. So, and what can I say? It's not designed for the modern battlefield, and if you take a look attentively at especially the semi-active mode, as for example is the case with the SM3 and SM2 on the older versions of the guidance radar from the Ticonderoga class and Arleigh class cruiser and destroyers, you can see yourself that you have to have the fire guidance fire control radar, which essentially gives you the, well, he talks about it from the thesis of the commander Ho. Yeah, his name is Ho. He's from Malaysian Navy, and he talks about a number of the nodes which you have to have, and they usually, for example, when you have 2 and 2 configuration, you have n squared, which is the possibility of guidance. Obviously, the latest versions of the fire control radar on the Aegis class ships allegedly has the multi-channel capability. They can basically guide number of the missiles, but it's useless in the modern warfare against the modern targets, and modern targets being, well, high supersonic and obviously hypersonic weapons. And I don't know, they can try, but so far for the last two and a half years since Patriots began to be delivered to the battlefield for Ukraine, not good. They are not survivable in the modern field, and they really cannot, defend anything there. So because of that, and because of Russians just, respond to all kinds of the nasty things from Ukraine, Mr. Trump goes yesterday in this binge, and evidently he doesn't, he is an old man, he's getting there, and he doesn't hold any coherent thought for a long time in his mind, and so suddenly he says, today essentially, I always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia. No, you didn't. You thought you had, but this is not how international relations work. Well, they kind of have some kind of rapport, but not anymore. But something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy in all caps, as you can see yourself. So this is like really, is it high schooler on the... Yeah, he's needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into the cities of Ukraine for no reason whatsoever. Sure, yeah, Ukraine is just absolutely angelic state, it has no Nazis, it doesn't kill Russian civilians, doesn't commit atrocities, but so sure. And, he talks about this thing again, and we have actually another guy, this clown Kellogg, who says immediately, stop this, stop the fires. Why? Mr. Kellogg, here is your chance, although you are very old now, you're 80s, in 80s, learn about real war, not this BS which you're doing, for example, killing Vietnam civilians, and so, what can I say, and they, for example, go bananas. Why? Because Russia evidently simply cannot stop running out of missiles. And the latest run, you saw yourself in the beginning some, demonstrations, so to speak, the videos of arrivals. And actually, when you look attentively at the reaction across the board, there are so many videos of this latest foray, so to speak. You will see yourself that for the most part, there's no real air defense there. It's none. It doesn't exist. And the hysteria, including Mr. Trump's hysteria, and he is like, as most narcissists, he cannot tolerate that somebody is tougher than he is. And again, his views about toughness are just that of the, pardon my French, high schooler. And so, what can I say? As the result, we have a wonderful commentary from this guy. I know who this guy is, but Will Schreiber, but look at this. He is absolutely correct stating about this outburst by Trump, who is absolutely just, goes ballistic because of his impotence. Fact is, the Russians couldn't care less what the flailing empire is happy about these days. They will continue to do as they damn well please. And the Americans will damn well put up with it for the simple reason they can't do anything about it anyway. And let me put it this way. He nails it, and this is what I'm talking about for, again, many years that, United States was exposed as the military paper tiger. It still has a powerful navy, but in terms of ground forces, it cannot do a damn thing about, they know They know some. There are many smart people in U.S. military. They know what they're looking at. Even when they are technologically actually uneducated, they still can understand that what they are dealing with is beyond their league, and doesn't matter what. United States can put what 400,000 of its ground forces on the ground there. Well, it's a fantasy. It's not even scientific fiction. So, and yes, what will happen? That Mr. Trump will be going bananas over and over again. He'll be calmed down at some point of time for a short period of time, and then he will continue to push this idiotic idea that allegedly this war is not his war. It is his war. It is now his war, and it was through his first administration. So it's nothing he can do about it. The history is such a creature. It doesn't care how much you rewrite it or spin. But if you didn't win, if you didn't defeat Hitler, as Mr. Trump claims, you didn't. Numbers are not there. They just do not support whatever your claims are. But again, the guy is a showman, so what can I say? He will be going bananas non-stop. However, if that hasn't been enough, and you saw yourself, obviously, that Mr. Trump evidently reacting to what even the economists, there's a bunch of the cretins with the humanities degrees from all kinds of the degree mills in UK and United States. I believe the chief editor of The Economist is there. She is American. And so Russia is raining hellfire on Ukraine. New attacks push its air defense to saturation point. They talk about the air defense of Ukraine. It's not saturation point, it's over saturation point. And SEAD, which is the basically a suppression of the enemy air defense, it did already happen. It's just that, of course, when you read all those people from like Larry correctly states, and for example, he talks about the which I repeat nonstop. There are no really serious professionals in Russian studies, and especially military, on the higher political level in the United States, that more Russian delusion from the Washington Post. And Washington Post continues to push all kinds of the garbage, which they actually drink the Kool-Aid from the, of the Ukrainian propaganda. And the numbers are simply not there. And as the result, as was, when you begin to look attentively at how the reaction and why such a reaction from Trump, here it is. We have the Washington Post now saying, admits that Ukraine is slammed by Russian missiles. Ukraine seeks more US air defense systems. I have news. And this is the news which actually Trump probably knows. That is why he goes bananas, that the United States doesn't have much to give anyway. And it's not good anyway, however. And so while Russia bombards Ukraine with drones and cruise missiles, it is the ballistic missiles that are the most feared. And they can only be reliably countered by Patriot missiles. So yeah, imbeciles. So it's Washington Post, and yeah, anybody who thinks that Washington Post, pardon me, which is pretty much the same. It's a Freudian slip, if you wish. It's a Washington Post and Patriot. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just primarily propaganda. No. Patriot cannot intercept any kind of the serious ballistics, let alone what you cannot explain to some imbecile who graduated some kind of the degree mill from Princeton or Harvard, that dudes, actually there are non-ballistic missiles such as, for example, 3M22 Zircon are altogether beyond capability of interception of any kind of the air defense or anti-ballistic missile or anti-missile defense systems in the United States. It just simply doesn't have capability, period. So, and what they do, they dance around all this, verbiage, which confuse people even more. And I'm talking about the people who do not have serious military and engineering background, who cannot understand what they're talking about. And believe me, anybody who has access to actual combat data, more or less, not everything obviously is available, and understand, for example, the structure and technological capabilities of Russian air defense systems, they laugh. I mean, they laugh at these morons which parade themselves, and the only reason, like cretins that they are. And the only reason they do this is because they are butthurt. They need to cover the complete collapse or the complete impotence, military impotence of the United States armed forces in this respect. And here is what I was talking about from the get-go, when even before the start of the special military operation. And here we have now indications, not just indications, a direct proof of what I was talking about for years. United States is not gonna go and fight there. United States cannot fight there. But what they do, they have brainwashed Europeans. And here it is. It's actually first was broken by Bloomberg, but truth is, it's very true. Buy American, how Europe must stock up on weapons for Ukraine. So, European leaders are racing to figure out how to keep Ukraine supplied with the weapons as US President Donald Trump appears to be walking away from the war. No, he's not walking away from the war. One option, buy American. Exactly, that was the plan from the get-go. Europeans technologically are impotent. Everything what they produce there is the second rate. It's crap, basically. All those, the air defense, SMPTs and, what have you. And so what do they have? They have nothing. They cannot produce quantity, let alone quality. So what do? Yeah, let's buy American. And they look at the United States as if America can provide them with something. A Patriot is a disaster. Patriot PAC-3, it's pathetic. It's not even military capability. And I can only repeat the quote from Mr. Lieutenant General Semyonov, the chief deputy commander of the Russian airspace forces, that the PAC-3 cannot defend itself. Forget about shooting down something else beyond its range. So, and as you can see yourself, Europe has neither stocks of arms nor the capacity to make them in large enough volume, as it becomes clear that US won't be delivering anymore. Well, guess what? US doesn't have it either. That's the discovery of the shocking profundity that actually United States can produce. Well, they can produce F-35s. That's pretty much it. But nobody will dare to put this lame duck thing into the, into the combat zone. And that simply explains to you that West is now, it's what is called Endspiel, or the end game. Russian general staff has a very good there are people, you will be surprised, there are people who have PhDs in mathematics. They are cadre officers. They are all those colonels, major generals. They have the PhDs in the military sciences, they have PhDs in the theory of operations and operational theory and things of this nature. They can calculate, plus they have the obviously excellent access to the very well reliable defense and intelligence information, so they know, they just sit and count and see, okay, these guys are running out, or they ran out already. United States, it's running out. United States doesn't have much to give. Whatever it can give, it's probably going to be on the level of some ammo, maybe some 155 millimeter shells. It cannot produce and it cannot deliver any kind of the Abrams in any good quantities, because they will be burned anyway. United States doesn't need already completely destroyed reputation of its weapons, which turned out to be expensive, pardon my French, junk. This is not to say that they cannot kill. They certainly can, as any, arquebus or musket from the 16th century can kill. But the point is, they are absolutely not designed to fight in the underwater battlefield. And this has been stated by me so many times. So I will repeat it as many times as necessary. And so we have the situation. That is why Mr. Trump goes ballistic again, because he cannot resign himself to the thought that, well, I'm sorry, dude, everything you know about war and actually military history is basically that of an amateur, as is the case practically for anybody in the National Security Council, which have been cleaned up this Friday. And so, you know what? get into your league, get into your own league. And this is not the Premier League you are in today. Maybe down the road, I doubt it, but who knows? I mean, America is a powerful country. It still has some resources, it still has some capability. It might do something about it. Will it really succeed? Even if partially, it still will, it will retain its status as the military superpower, but primarily because of the nuclear weapons. And that is the whole other story, because evidently even the organization of the American scientists, the nuclear scientists, boy, I mean, it's like in one day, historical terms, the whole lack of expertise and sheer incompetence of those old people, from military to all those scientists, have been exposed. Like the shroud have been taken, in a very fast, jerky move, and then suddenly you look at this and say, good Lord, it's all hollow, it's all empty. The guys are morons. They don't know basic facts about defense policies of Russia. And as a result, yeah, we have what we have. We have Mr. Trump going bananas, and obviously they try to buy now, American, as if they have, some capability to do it. So, and when we go and take a look at other situation, like what happened with the Estonian powerful navy, Russians already today, Mr. Patrushev, he is the chair of Russian Collegium, Naval Collegium. He says that, Russia to respond to West attempts restrictions in Baltic Sea, as was the attempt by mighty Estonian Navy to stop Jaguar, the tanker, which was under the, I don't remember, some African flag. So, and they wanted to, basically get it into one of the Estonian ports. Well, Russians, of course, flew in Su-35, and then he talks about Mr. Patrushev after this reaction, that a set of measures has already been coordinated and agreed with the president. Patrushev said, without revealing the steps Moscow plans to take in response to what it calls a threat to its security and interest in the area. The presidential aide said the Russian Baltic Fleet is currently strengthening its position in the Baltic Sea to ensure the safety of navigation and prevent any provocation by unfriendly nations. What are those measures? Well, I mean, you can always transfer the maneuver by force, transfer some ships from the Northern Fleet. And then, of course, there's a lot of good things with the range of 1,000 and 1,500 kilometers based on the shore, called obviously Bastion systems, and even the small missile ships. They carry all those nasty 3M54 and 3M14s. So if any NATO navy decides to, test Russian resolve, they could be sunk. So, and I'm talking about not a single ship, I'm talking about the navy. Basically, Russia can sink in single salvo every single navy in the Baltic Sea. And that means what? Finland, Sweden, Germany, Poland, and Denmark. So if they want to try that, good luck. I'm not talking about obviously all those Baltic states, which are not even serious discussion at this stage. So if we take a look, however, at the situation on the front, here is from yesterday by our good friend Marat. As you can see yourself, Konstantinovka speaks, basically by itself. Just one after another red arrows everywhere. And if you look attentively now at this red arrows, their size actually is significant. And even if you look at actually Stara Nikolaevka, there's a wonderful cauldron in there. So there is another around Petrovka, so Romanovka. It's just, cauldron upon cauldron. And that is why there's so much scream and, desperation from Trump administration, which of course thinks that, it's not our war. Well, it is. It's your war, Donnie. And you are the one who actually really started to, you brought the match to the powder keg. And as a result, no matter how he tries desperately to do anything about it, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna help of the, Russians will still kind of continue to work with him because you have to. I mean, it's superpower. You need to kind of approach it different with a different intent, if you wish. But it is what it is. And now we have the, oh my gosh, political, European political. Oh yeah, so look at this. This the guys like, Europe must learn the art of empowering Russia. That is the, as you can see yourself, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, the EU is far from powerless. It is simply under-leveraged. So the article by the Stephen Everts and by the bunch of the sinecure-abusing morons from the European Institute for Strategic Studies. Well, yeah, that's basically a bunch of the frauds. So Stephen Everett is the director of the EU Institute for Security Studies. This article is based on a new report called Empowering Russia, How the EU Can Counter the Kremlin. The EU faces a Russian threat that goes well beyond Moscow's war against Ukraine. Every day the Kremlin actions harm European interests. Well, we know European interest. It's a freaking Nazi, cesspool now, and nothing could be done about it other than what Russia does. And according to new report, Europe needs is a strategy not just of containing or building resilience, but of empowering Russia, systematically reducing the Kremlin ability to harm the bloc. Let's be realistic, however, he admits, yes, Russia is a global power that can and does hurt core EU interest. Well, yeah, Russia is a global power. Militarily, it's the best superpower in the world in terms of the conventional weapons, well, in terms of the nuclear weapons too. And so, basically, when he talks about Europe and Europeans trying to do anything about it, well, I just introduced to you the whole idea of them being impotent militarily, because the only thing they can do is to pretend that they can somehow buy something which United States doesn't have, which are the other weapon systems, which are really bad. And as I already stated, let's call it for what it is. It is not useless, not entirely useless. They still represent danger, but it's a junk. It's not designed to fight a real huge combined arms operations and real war. And so he talks about, however, Moscow danger lies precisely in its agility. It can meddle with European democracies. Yeah, European democracies is just so funny. Essentially, Europe now on the way to become, we can use 1984 analogies, whatever we want, but essentially it's going to be totalitarian concentration camp. And you already saw yourself what they did to German journalists, European Commission. They simply, basically, violated every single right. Civil right, and there are no civil rights for people in Europe, period. You can be actually thrown in the jail for nothing. You can have your funds frozen. You can have be dispossessed of your property and everything. That's Europe. And that's what it will become. Europeans wanted it, let them enjoy. And so as the result, so you have these people, and especially when you have the situation which is bordering on the complete economic and military schizophrenia and incompetence, what do you expect? But guess what? It's not the first time they try to empower Russia, despite the fact that all those graphs, all those numbers, they do not have the capability to do anything about it. And if you take a look at, for example, who those people are, well, you go and download this report. But look at this. It was 2019. It was 6 years ago. Recognize this? Same thing. It's April 24, 2019. This is Rand, overextending and unbalancing Russia. Pretty much same thing. And I wrote about this from, God, good Lord, a second decade now I'm writing about. There are no Russia scholars in the West, period. Live with this. This is the fact. Everybody who passes for the Russian scholars, including in Rand, they're a bunch of nincompoops with all kinds of degrees and combat experience in some, in Afghanistan. Wow, sure. Yeah, that gets you where you need to be. But they don't know what Russia is. Those people who do know, they're not allowed anywhere. Their political power and political political levers. And so what can I say? It is what it is. I mean, they repeat, this is echo chamber. Read the first chapter of my latest book and you will recognize I write there specifically about echo chamber. They regurgitate, they repeat same old trope over and over again. None of those people, including from Rand, including those generals who are abusing sinecures there, including all those, Pete Hexers and you know what, they have no clue what they're talking about. They don't. Very few people. Yeah, people like, like Colonel Lester Grau, who write about it and try to deliver the issue. Same as was done by Colonels David Glantz and Jonathan House. Same as, I speak to Daniel Demis and Larry Johnson, Ray McGovern. They need to learn first what they are dealing with. They are not in the same league, economically and militarily. And they still cannot resign themselves to what I repeat ad nauseam. United States lost the arms race. Russians openly laugh at United States air defense, for example, and Air Force, and Russians have very good statistical understanding of what the basically American wars are. And that is why I called my latest book called America's Final War. United States is incapable to conduct a real war. Expeditionary force to kick butt of some, Grenada or some mighty Iraq or something like that. Yeah, possibly. And even there, it's not good. So, but that is what is happening across the board. And as the result, we have those outbursts. You know what? It's essentially as like any animal which is already cornered and about to be killed, understands its end. It has to conduct those knee-jerk reactions, physiological reactions. It is almost physiological. It is not logical. It is not rational. It is not based on anything which constitutes the rational thinking and knowledge. There is none. And as a result, we have this. It's the Endspiel. It's the end game. That's how it looks like. And what can I say? It will continue. And Russians will do it as long as it takes and as long as they want. And they won't. So, and this is what I wanted to tell you today about this whole situation. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee too. I would really appreciate you doing this. And again, my profound thanks to my wonderful patrons who keep me in business. I know very many of you guys who you are. Sadly, I cannot respond to each and every private message. I really can't. It's not like I'm ignoring you. I'm just a, a live person, soft machine, as the band was called. That's who I am. I mean, I have only so much energy to respond to everything. So, and what can I say? Have a nice rest of your weekend, Memorial Day weekend in the United States, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.